Sunday, March 1st, is the 31st annual National Week of Prayer for the Healing of AIDS. Can you believe it? For those of you who have been on this journey with us for 31 years, thank you. And for those of you, this may be your first year joining the Balm in Gilead in its annual National Week of Prayer for the Healing of AIDS. AIDS, the epidemic, is not over. It is not over. The epidemic continues to rage in the African American community. We don't hear much about HIV these days in our community. We don't hear about the alarming rates of HIV among Black women. We don't hear much about the alarming rates among Black gay men. And now we're beginning to see alarming rates among heterosexual Black men. Just because we don't hear doesn't mean that the epidemic has gone away. The Week of Prayer over these past 31 years has been a staple. It has been the rock. It has been the foundation, really, of how we address HIV in this country. It gave root to the Black AIDS Awareness Day and all the AIDS Awareness Days that we have because of this work that started in the African American community. Sunday, I'm calling on you to take a minute and continue to pray for the healing of AIDS and educate. Make sure that you give some information about HIV and AIDS. We still do not have a cure. We have good treatment. We now have something called PrEP. For those who are in relationship with someone who has the virus, you can actually take a pill to make sure that you don't contract the virus. We have medical science and the treatment has really moved forward. But we still don't have a vaccine. We still don't have a cure. But we do have prevention. So thank you. Thank you for 31 years of being in this fight with the Balm in Gilead. And thank you for all of you who are joining this movement because you are just as important on Sunday as your first time as those hundreds who have been with us for 31 years. The AIDS epidemic in the African American community requires all of us working together, praying together, and educating each other. Prevention, treatment, management. Thank you so much. Now, let's talk a little bit longer because we must mention the coronavirus. Today we are facing, science is telling us we are facing another pandemic. 40 years ago, we were facing a pandemic called HIV and AIDS. 40 years ago. And we can now see the early response of that pandemic. Well, it didn't go too well for us. It didn't go too well for us. 40 years later, millions of folks, majority Black folks around the world, are dead and affected and infected. The response to that dreadful pandemic that was coming our way 40 years ago did not turn out too well for us. And here we are again with the coronavirus. Please, on Sunday as you pray and educate about HIV, let's get ahead of this African American community because we know, evidence-based, we know that if it hits us, if it hits the country, the United States, it's going to hit the African American community the hardest. So let's get in front of it. Get the facts. Get the scientific facts. And then take action. Wash your hands. Make sure your kids don't go to school or you don't go to work or school sick. Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Let's get in front of this. Let's take precautions. If you're like me and you run a business, tell your employees if you're sick, stay at home. Because you know, like I know, like what happened in HIV, guess what? They're still not coming to save us. So let's get ahead of us. Let's get ahead of this pandemic. And it's simple. Wash your hands, pay attention, take precaution, and get the scientific facts. Thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much. Sunday, March 1st, I look forward to being in prayer and education with you for the 31st Annual National Day of Prayer for the Healing of AIDS. You know there is a balm in Gilead. God bless you.